The attacking army would be met by spears, boiling oil, waste, or the defender's main weapon, the short bow and the crossbow.
Crossbows were easy to use and deadly accurate at short range, with the battlements providing protection for reloading. The short bow in skilled hands was ideal for rapid shooting, the perfect weapons for defending the citadel. In 1688, Vauban introduced the socket bayonet to the French army.
If you've ever changed a light bulb, you might have heard the term bayonet fitting, and that goes back to these things. It slots over the end, locks into place on a lug.
By offsetting the bayonet, this ingenious design meant that the gun could be loaded even with the bayonet fixed.
And what you now have is your musket turned into a pike, but it's also a pike that's operating as a musket.
So this is a 12-pounder gun. On the top here, we've got a gun lock. So this gave the British gunners an advantage because it allowed the gun captain to time precisely when he wanted his gun to go off. You pull the hammer back to half cock, some powder.
These new gun locks made firing instantaneous.
Close the frizzen, firing.
Deliberate inundation. The basic principle was to intentionally flood land into a depth of only 40-50 centimeters, which is too deep for soldiers to cross on foot, but too shallow for boats to pass.
This tactic was first used in the 17th century against the armies of Louis XIV as they advanced towards Amsterdam. The Dutch flooded 20 kilometers of land between the city and Louis's forces, successfully cutting off his advance. Now, 150 years later, the new king had a plan to use engineered flooding to protect his entire country, the new Dutch waterline. It stretched for 85 kilometers. It could create a barrier up to 5 kilometers wide between the country's economic heartland in the west and the rest of Europe. The Laskovsky Battery, made up of 4 huge 152.4mm Bofors guns, each built on its own raised firing platform and all connected to a central artillery command center. Each gun was operated by a team of 22 men, half of them based underground. This is where the shells were stored, each weighing almost 50 kilograms and packed with TNT explosive designed to inflict maximum damage to armored targets. The Molotov cocktail, a sarcastic response to Soviet Foreign Secretary Vyacheslav Molotov for his claim about the bombing of Finnish cities.
This is a mock-up of what one looked like. You've got the flammable liquid, you've also got potassium chlorate, which is really irritating to come into contact with. And it also has a load of pine sap. And what that does when it burns is create a lot of annoying smoke, which is even more annoying in a confined space like a T-26.
First, a windproof storm match on the side of the bottle is lit.
Never mind the fire, but the smoke as well. And if you imagine the hatch is down and you can't get out, being inside a tank is not comfortable anyway. But having one of those suddenly sprung on you, no thanks.